So Bernie, you talked about something really important, and that is ownership. And I think there's a distinction that you make as an entrepreneur. And this is something I used to tell people that I would work with. I'd say, look, you don't work for the company. You don't work for me. You work for you. Everything you do, you work for you. Because what that means then is when you think about, well, I'm going to work, it's actually, yeah, you're going to work, but you can be working on you as well and getting better. So what's your, if you talk to a 22-year-old or a 24-year-old today, what do you wish they knew about their career, even if they're not yet sure what direction to take?
That's a great question because, when I started my career, I had no clue. I had no clue about how a company worked. I had no clue about office politics. I had no clue about how do you rise in a company. And so it took me 4 or 5 years to figure out that I needed to become valuable. And the value didn't come from working for someone. It came from making myself more valuable because then the company felt I was more valuable, right? I could do more for them. But in essence, I'm really investing in myself. So when I talk to the 21 and the 22-year-olds today, that's exactly what I tell them. I go, first of all, hire your company. Don't take any job. Do your research and your homework. And then when you hire your company and you go, I want to go work for Kashi, I want to go work for Costco, then look at who you might work for. Look at their LinkedIn profile, look at their background, look at who this person is and what's going on and say, is this the kind of person that can mentor me? Do they have a skill set that I want? Can I be the remora to that shark, right? And to be that methodical. So now when you enter the company, you're more in line with, I don't want to be a project coordinator or a marketing coordinator. I want to be a CMO, or I want to start an agency someday. So that's what I'm trying to set these 21, 22-year-olds up, is to say, after 5 or 6 years, not what is your destiny, what do you see yourself doing, but how much of an expert do you want to become so that you have choices. You can choose to stay with a company, you can choose to go to another company, or you can choose to create a company. And in order to do that, you have to become an expert. You don't get those choices unless you become an expert. And so that's my advice, is don't get so hung up on the company and the politics and this. Learn your craft so well that you're in the top 1 or 2%, and always be learning and training yourself for what's next. Don't angst about a promotion, don't angst about a raise. Those will come. You have to believe in yourself, right? Is what I tell these kids. And I'm doing it with my kids, right? I've got a 22-year-old, I've got a 26-year-old, and I've got a 29-year-old. And I told them all the same thing. They only offered me this much, but you'll be able to do this and this and this. And they see it now. They didn't see it at the beginning. And so often I wonder, especially for the 22-year-olds that are graduating today, if they don't have this kind of distant mindset and a good mentor and maybe some good advisors, they probably spend 3 to 5 years wasting time. They'll learn something, but they're not moving in a direction they want to move because they never thought they could direct it. They thought that the direction comes from your manager and your manager promoting you. And so you have to serve time until you get promoted, and then you have other opportunities. And you have to flip that upside down and say, I'm as valuable as the CEO, so what's my value going to be? It's funny, sometimes I'm interviewing a student and I'll say, what's your experiences? I try to help them get a job, and they go, well, I was just a cashier at X, or I was just a waiter at Y. And I go, so if I remove you from the business, what happens to the business? And they go, well, there is no business. And I go, great, so you're the face of the brand. So you need to portray yourself as understanding that you're the face of the brand. So now what does someone who understands the face of the brand, how do they present themselves as the value that they drove from being either a cashier or a customer service person? Then they see it. They're like, okay, I get it now.